Well, welcome back. Here we are, right where we were last time in Miami Beach at Casa de Sueños, and we're having some fun. At least I hope you're having fun. I hope you had a great 4th of July. Something that we do every 4th of July is redeclare our financial independence, and that's really what it's all about. So I hope you're doing well. I want to remind you that these sessions kind of connect one to another. And so if you missed the previous session, sometimes there's gaps or you're not going to be up to speed for the current session. So it's good to, go be it every one or go back and review the previous one because they're all content on demand. This is something that we wanted to do for a while to kind of, for a long time, we've wanted to memorialize the real keys to the business, the things that built the company, that made the big pin levels when we built it with them. So we're giving it all to you. I mean, this is all the knowledge, all the secrets, all the keys. But remember, the only real learning is experiential learning. So if you don't do it, if you don't try it, if you don't practice it, it really doesn't mean anything. You won't really experience what it's about. So last session, well, first, this session is prospecting, developing possibilities, and qualifying people, which ends up sponsoring them. It's a process. Um, so that's usually one of the favorite topics of people. Um, so last session, and by the way, we have to do this in 2 sessions. We tried to get it in one. There's just too much. And being that it's your favorite topic, you should be happy about that. So the last session, we spent some time on the fact that prospecting is a function of knowledge, attitude, and belief. It happens automatically when you have the knowledge and the attitude, which gives you the confidence, and when you really believe in the business, then it's impossible not to recruit. And that led to the containers and vessels, the demonstration. Uh, the business becomes what you think. You're the vessel, you're the container, and there's unlimited amount of market America or unfranchised, and it can fill any size vessel, but it's going to reflect or end up being what you think. So whatever you have in the business is because of your thinking, because of your belief, because of your knowledge and attitude. So I hope that you followed the instructions. See, this is a little test. Did you watch the container video that we gave you of the vessels? If you didn't, I just want to tell you, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it because you won't listen. You think you know it all, or, oh, I was on the session, and I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I want you to make it so badly. I was telling Andrew, I really know when somebody's going to make it or not. They do these things. So did you watch the video? If you didn't, you still got a chance to correct it. Because until you have that realization that it's all automatic when I think right, when I have the belief. And if you think you believe and you're not sponsoring, you're not developing possibilities, which end up being people that try it out and qualify themselves, which ends up causing you to sponsor, you're not going to experience the success that you want. Exactly. It's just that simple. There's no shortcut. Yeah, some people have gotten lucky because it only takes two. Okay, but you don't want to count on luck. So, at any rate, if one's actually doing the business and believes, the point is that it is impossible not to prospect or develop possibilities. Why? Because you're in conversations and it comes up. They see that you're excited. They see that you're enthusiastic and doing things and always busy. So, and then everybody has a weekly routine. And in that weekly routine, we bump into people, unless you're a hermit, right? I mean, and people complain and they wish. True or false?
True.
Answer the question. Do they complain? Do they wish? So if you believe, you can't help but it come up. So I get a little worked up about this because it really is the essence of the business. And you spending the time to be on here, let's learn something. So, people are going to ask you what you do. And when people complain and wish, they're giving you the ammunition to bring it up, to show them a solution. So the first point from last time was you have to be doing the evaluation approach. Even when we're prospecting, when we actually pull the trigger, it's the evaluation approach, right? We want them to evaluate it. So the evaluation approach and method with the no decision close is where we start. You don't have to be going out knowing how to dance with the themes and doing all that. When you begin, all you have to do is have your list of 100 and do 2 per week for 52 weeks, and you with a senior partner, and you're going to end up with some good people, but you're also going to end up being comfortable and confident and skilled to be able to talk to people. So you see how it works? So if you don't do that, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help you. So that starts with 10 to 20. Right now, you can have 10 to 20 people that may know the right people, and with a senior partner, do the evaluation approach and get this started. And you're going to start to learn, you're going to start to get results, and then things are going to begin to happen. Then you can begin to develop possibilities on top of your list of 100, because you never want to stop. So it's like breathing. I'm going to say that again. Developing possibilities when you believe in the business is like breathing. If you stop breathing, you got a problem, right?
Exactly.
So it's like breathing because you can't help it. If you're alive in the business and doing the business and breathing the business, you're going to be developing relationships and friendships, which turns into a conversation, and people ask you what it is, or they ask you what you do, or they're complaining and wishing and giving you the ammunition and the reason to bring it up. Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
So you see, if you're breathing in the business and you believe, it's impossible not to be developing possibilities and prospecting, and therefore ending up having some people sponsored that qualify. Last time we went over the dance. When that happens, you need to know how to dance. And that's the themes. So let me ask you a question. Last time we showed you a little snippet. You spent 45 minutes that night watching what we taught. But did you do the homework, or did the dog eat the homework? Right? Was there some excuse? See, I'm telling you, I'm trying to coach you, give you everything that I know from the bottom of my heart to the top of my soul, and you didn't do it. So if you didn't do it, you're not going to make it. You have to do these things. Now, why? Because if you didn't watch that video that we've supplied you, we only gave you like 15 seconds. You're not going to really understand that it really is a dance, that it really is easy. And if you get into the flow of it and you learn the themes, you know the dance steps, and you're confident. So people want to dance with you. So I really hope that if you didn't watch that, you'll go back, because we didn't do it for our health. I don't need to do this. I've already developed many, many field vice presidents. We have a tremendous residual income. I don't need to do this for me. I'm doing it for you. The conversation is going to lead to what is it? Well, what do? You need to know how to dance. We gave you a small clip. Did you watch it? Yes or no? And if you're not going to do 2 per week evaluations, and if you're not doing it now, you need to start. And if you don't know the themes, and if you don't do 2 possibilities per week with a senior partner, you're not going to make 6 figures, period. So you got to make a decision on that. Now, tonight we're going to give you a lot of tips, keys, wisdom, and points that'll make it work. You know, these are things that we know work. They're proven to work. So I want you to have confidence, the type of confidence where you have mental weapons and tools. You're a warrior. Okay. There's no way that you can't win the conversation if somebody is complaining or wishing. Okay. You have the solution, and you have mental 2x4s to crack people upside the head, to wake them up, or sometimes to shut them up. You know, if they have a bad attitude or are sarcastic. You see, if you want to play golf, and you have to develop a good swing. The clubs and irons are not going to give you a good swing. But if you have a good swing, then the irons and the clubs make a difference. So it's the same thing in the business. The lines, the scripts, the answers, if you practice them and rehearse them, you're going to be fabulous. You're going to have great results. So my point, I guess, is that it's mental preparation. It's kind of when we talk about the geese and getting into formation and being able to fly 2,000 miles rather than being in the chicken coop. This is what it comes down to, this type of knowledge. You have to know what to say. You have to know what you're talking about. You have to have what I call mental agility to be able to roll with the punches, to be able to do the dance. So it's preparation. And the business, now this is the bottom line, the business is 95% mental. So you have to be in mental shape in order to really be successful. So this brings us back to prospecting. You notice that recruiting is crossed out. We don't recruit. And I explained that last time. Prospecting will lead to qualifying people because it's a conversation. And in the conversation, they're going to determine if they're the right people for it. And that leads to evaluating it, which leads to a trial run, which ends up sponsoring people. And really what we're doing is priming the pumps, in the old metaphor, okay, priming the pumps or shaking the bean jar to get the nuts that rise to the top that become directors. So it's a process. If you follow the process and do it, the result is always the same. Okay, people don't do these things and get a different result. Okay, so prospecting equals qualifying. Okay, try to embed that in your cerebral cortex. If you're prospecting, now that didn't say recruiting. If you're prospecting, it's going to end up in the process qualifying them, determining if they're qualified. So this process and this pattern's automatic. The evaluation technique and the no decision close follow the path of least resistance. In other words, you're not grabbing people by the throat and throwing them down. You're not trying to make people do this. It's done in such a way that they almost, if they're right for it, they almost walk into it. There's no way that they're not going to want to do it. If they're wrong for it, they eliminate themselves. So it's automatically works, is my point. I don't know how, I wish I could like grind myself up into a little pill and you take me and all of a sudden you start shaking because you would realize, wow, this is it. And I don't know how hard you've worked the business or how long you've been in, but if you really want it to work, this is what makes the difference. So you must see it. I always want people to see it 3 times. You don't need to be hard-nosed about it. I'd really like you to see it 3 times, Andrew, or it's really a good idea to see it 3 times. Or Andrew, I can't work with everybody. So that's the reason I want you to see it 3 times so that we know that you understand it and the light bulbs have gone off and you see how it's going to connect. So there's no pressure, okay? You can leave your apprehension and your skepticism at the door because we're not going to try to get you in anyway. We're going to have to test it out if fireworks go off in your brain by the 3rd time. Right. And when we test it out, I'm going to do it with you. And you don't know what to do, but I do know what to do. And we have it down to science. So it's very highly probable that you're going to end up succeeding and making money before you even made a decision. That's a no decision close. But you must see it 3 times and do a trial run in order to get in. Okay, why get somebody in and sign them up and then they have to figure out how to do it, or you hope that they do it? And why not have it working before they get in? Does that make sense to you? Mm-hmm. So the process is always leading to the right people. And it begins with the top 10 to 20 list of best possibilities from your list of 100 possibilities and acquaintances. So you either do that or you don't. If you don't do it, I can't help you. I mean, I don't know. You might succeed by luck, but who wants to depend on luck? So it's all about people leading to people first. See how big that's written on the screen? That is what the business is about. You don't make big money. Yeah, you can make a nice income from retailing and maybe having one or a couple other people doing it with you. But if you want to make the big money, you need people leading the people. So why not get the people that are going to lead the people first and not sign people up first? Doesn't that make sense? Why would you want to sponsor anybody that can't lead anyone? So prospecting there's a process and pattern that make it work automatically. If you follow the recipe, you'll get the result. So prospecting, it really equals developing possibilities. Why do I say that? I don't know if they are right for the business. They're a possibility. They have some attributes. Okay, they have a personality. They know the right people. So they're a possibility for somebody that could be right for the business. I'm going to find out by talking to them. So we track it on a possibility list. How many? I should be able to develop a couple possibilities a week from my weekly routine or what I'm doing. After I've gone through, or as I go through my list of 100 people that I already know methodically, like exercising, like dieting, like practicing. It's just automatic. It's a discipline. You have the names, you know the people. It's a question of, do they know the right people, and can you get them to evaluate it? So that part of it is just discipline. It's just methodical. It's just a matter of focusing on the list of 100 out of 300 people that you know pretty well and doing the evaluation approach weekly. So that means having conversations and making friends at the same time in your daily routine. So if you're doing the evaluation approach, you're not going to stay at home all the time. You're going around doing whatever you do. Little strange time now with the social distancing and the quarantining, but that's not going to last forever. And, you have a captive audience on Zoom or by calling people. So it doesn't eliminate this principle at all. Right. So asking questions and listening to find out more about them. We've given 2 ears and 1 mouth. By God. I think that means we should listen twice as much as we speak. They're going to tell you everything that you need to know. So including their wish and what they want to, want, or their complaint or pain. People love to complain and people love to wish. And that's it. If you do that, the next step is easy, because you should have large numbers of people that are telling you what they want in life, what they wish for, or what they don't like, and their complaints. And their complaint or their wish is the ammunition or the leverage or the reason for them to take a look at it. So if you have that reason, it's easy to get them to evaluate it. Do you understand that? Yeah. So that's what you want to focus on. Qualifying them completes prospecting and results in sponsoring. Okay, so developing possibilities is just going through life the way you do and talking to people, being friendly, taking an interest in them, having a conversation, developing a friendship or relationship, and it's going to come up. They're going to either complain or wish, or they're going to ask you what you do. So there's no way that you can prevent it from happening. Does that make sense to you? Okay. So when done right, it becomes the reverse of recruiting. They actually recruit you, because when they find out, when you start using the evaluation approach a little bit and they're complaining or wishing, they start asking you about it. So regardless, qualifying causes the big nuts in the bean jar to rise to the top. The right people to do it with become very obvious. You'll never know this unless you try it. And it takes about a month of doing it, and it's best to do it with someone because it's less scary, it's more comfortable. And anything that we do new, if we do it with someone who's already doing it, we always do better at it. We have a better chance of enjoying it and doing well. Does that make sense? So sponsoring it, listen, everybody that I know that made it, and I know more people that made it than you do. Everybody that made it, this is what happened. So nobody's going to be the great exception to the rule. You're not going to make it big without going through this process. So sponsoring is based on the process of doing the trial run and building the business with them. Building the business with them, not sponsoring them and hoping that they go out and build it. If that's what you're doing, if you think, oh, I got a great guy, I'm going to get Andrew in. He's popular. Everybody likes him. He's a nice guy. And you think that he's going to go out and build it on his own, or he's going to bring the people in and go to the seminars and learn how to do it, you're wrong. Okay? That there's a very low probability that somebody will see the business, figure it out, get the training, and go out and do it on their own. But it's a very high probability that if you do it with them and they have that type of mindset, that it'll work. So repeating the process under them, which leads to the right people, automatically makes it work. So if I have a person that will lead the people, that's willing to do it, that's willing to try, that's willing to listen, who's cooperative, coachable, and enthusiastic, I have a gold mine. You see, they're going to learn the business by doing it with you, by doing it with me. So this requires follow-ups, meetings, and trainings, and it becomes the ABC pattern. That's what ends up becoming sponsoring. You know, if somebody has a baby, you know what they've been doing. They didn't get to the point where they had the baby without doing it. And so what I'm talking about is what we do to end up sponsoring somebody that becomes a success. Sponsoring is really like having a baby. In the business, it's a 90-day to 6-month process. I always joke, you know, it's easier to conceive than it is to deliver. And in the business, you don't want to sponsor illegitimate children. You don't want to sponsor somebody because you can't set the baby out on the doorstep and expect it to survive. You have to be there for the baby. So be careful who you sponsor. You want people that are going to make it easy for you. That are going to, it's going to be enjoyable with. Does that make sense to you? So evaluation approach leads to qualifying and the no decision close. The evaluation approach automatically results in or leads to qualifying and the no decision close. See, to qualify, they have to be willing to make a list of some people and get some people to evaluate it. Okay, they have to choose a 2 to 3 year plan over the 45-year plan before I'll do that with them. So when somebody already chooses residual income and they see the big picture and they have a reason to do it, the second part becomes that much easier. You see, I'm not trying to talk them into it. We're doing it because they want this. So choose the choice of one or the other, the 2 to 3 year plan or the 45-year plan, is a critical point in the presentation. Okay, make them answer. Don't go on if they don't. Okay, you're making a big mistake. You're trying to talk somebody into it. They can't even agree that they don't want to exchange time for money for the rest of their life. They would rather have something that would produce a residual income for the rest of their life to give them the freedom that they want. If they can't agree with that, they're out of here. They're a waste of my time. Okay, so you can pick people that it's not going to work with and try to hope that it's going to work, but you're going to end up being dissatisfied, not having a lot of success, and we'll be lucky if you're around in a year. Does that make sense? I'm trying to be fair with you. So I ask, why do you want the 2 to 3 year plan? I probe a little deeper. I don't, gloss over it, because it's really what it's all about. So if they choose that, they want to see the 5 steps. Even if there's not time and they're fidgety, you don't need to go through it. But at the beginning, I tell them that they can't get in tonight anyway. So put your apprehensions and your checkbook away. See, I want people to stop fighting mentally, because everybody has been through being convinced to do things that they don't want to do. Everybody is suspicious of people's motives, of what something's about. Everybody has their guard up. Isn't that true?
Yes.
So my method is the path of least resistance, and to remove those barriers so that they have an open mind. And ultimately, if they'll just go along with me and let me help, if they know the right people, okay, I'm going to do it with them, and it'll end up working before they even have to make a decision. Isn't that the better way of doing it? You tell me. So evaluation approach leads to qualifying and the no decision close. And that's going to lead to the business working, because I know what they do. And if they do it my way, it's going to work. Okay. So I tell them, look, the first time, this is going to create more questions than it answers. Now, that's exactly what happens, isn't it? So when I say that, and we go through the plan, or, the overview of the plan, that I already told them that they're going to be a little confused. There's going to be questions.
Exactly.
Okay. And so I tell them the second time, you're going to see things that you didn't see the first time. So there's no rush. The second time they see it, sure enough, light bulbs start going off. They start seeing things they didn't see. And the third time, fireworks go off in their head, because they took the time to see it 3 times. They may have people there that they've invited. 2 heads are better than 1 to see it together, and they could become their people. And so then we try it out and we test market. Why? Because I don't want them to spend their time and effort and it not work out. Okay, they don't want to do that, and I don't want to waste my time. I want to make sure I have the right people, and they want to make sure that the opportunity and the business is right for them and something that they will succeed at. So I have a way of us both getting the answer up front. I mean, who would turn down $2,100 to $3,600 a week? If they knew they were going to make that, would they do the business? Yes, of course they would. So why not find out up front? And what determines that they'll make that type of money? Well, they have to have 2 legs. They have to have 2 of the right people at least. And they have to have people leading the people. So I get that going and determine whether they can play well, whether they can put the ball in the basket, or whether they can hit the ball, in baseball, or whether they can block and tackle in football. I find out first. And the fact, if they're willing to do it, I know what to do, and they just follow it, it's going to work. Okay? Because what do you need to make it work? You need somebody that'll lead the people that'll buy the product, or people that will lead the people to become UFOs. True or false?
True.
So that's why I set up the trial run meeting. Let's find out. Okay? So they get to see how it's done, and they have people there during this process of the trial run. The objective is to lead me to your people. That's all I want. Lead me to your people. I stay focused on that. So I'm always booking the follow-up, okay? Because when they do lead me to somebody, following up with them starts this process of 2 of them now leading to people. So I repeat the same thing with their people. They get to experience the product in the process, because we're looking for things that we have solutions to that they can use. So they're experiencing the product. I go over the shopping annuity assessment test to show them that all the money that they're spending right now can be turned into volume, okay, in the business. And I make it work first before they have to make a decision, by having other people that are evaluating it and then leading the people and doing trial runs. So that means that there's no decision to be made. They don't have to make a decision because it's already working. You don't have to ask them to register. They're asking you to register. and they're begging to get in. Does this make sense to you?
Mhm.
Do you believe me? Have you done it this way? Probably not. Uh, so it's all about qualifying people by meeting them and cultivating a relationship. The relationship comes first. Okay. So when I'm meeting new people, it's just like you met all your friends that you have now. Relationships come from building friendships. But in the process, I'm investigating and interviewing them. I'm finding out who they know, what they like, what they do, what they're good at, uh, who they influence. I'm finding out about them. I'm doing my homework. And if you don't know what to say, the old form method works every single time. You talk about family, occupation, recreation, and that requires money. So there you are. You have a way to get that residual income or that money. Recreation requires time and money. So sometimes people don't have the time to do the things that they want. So remember their name. These are little pointers that make a big difference. If I meet somebody in the lobby of my apartment complex or condominium, and I ask them what their name is, and I write it down. I keep a log of everyone that I meet each day and something about them, because when I see them again, they'll be there probably at the same time. And we're having a conversation. They can only talk about three things: what's happening, how rotten things are, complaining, or what they wish. Okay. But I remember their name. Hey, Andrew, good to see you again, man. Are you going to the gym? You go to the gym every time every day at this time, right? Where's the gym? So you guys get it? I mean, but because I wasn't, hey, buddy, hey, guy, hey, good to see. I remember his name. I stand out bright over 100 other people that didn't remember his name. Does that make sense? So people talk about three things. So take an interest, ask questions. What are the three things? They talk about what's happening. Okay, that lasts for about 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and then they start wishing or complaining. If you don't believe me, I challenge you to run a test, an experiment this week, and just talk to 10 people, small talk. Hey, how you doing? Boy, this pandemic really has made things weird, hasn't it? A little small, and then they start complaining or wishing. Listen to them, ask them questions, get interested in what they're saying. Okay. And all of a sudden, you're a brilliant conversationalist. They love you because you are taking an interest in them and listening to them. Let me tell you what people's favorite topic is. Their favorite topic is themselves, and they are experts at it. So get them talking about themselves, and you'll find that they like you because you listen. I mean, this is almost funny. I'm giving you wisdom here. You won't really believe it until you try it. So the evaluation approach and the no decision close, it's the opposite of recruiting. Can you see that now? There's, the anxiousness. I got to get them. How am I going to bring it up? It's all gone. It's all very, very natural. So the opposite of recruiting and trying to get people in, you get people to evaluate the concept of the shopping annuity or the unfranchised business, which is basically residual income. So all you have to do is talk like, do you know what residual income is? Well, let me tell you, I didn't either, but I found out, man, that's what I'm going after. You only have so many hours a day, hours a week, hours a year. And if you're able to develop a residual income, that time you put in keeps paying you forever. Okay, so, this is the opposite of recruiting. You get people to evaluate the concept of the residual income, and they know the right people, you and your partner. So you can't even use the excuse that you don't know what to do. You and your partner will show it to them. And if they lead to the right people, it could mean some money to them. That's an offer too good to refuse. If you have, now here's another tip. If you give them a reason that makes sense to them, why they may know the right people, the likelihood of them being willing to look at it goes way up because it makes sense to them. So, why do you want them to look at it? Because they may know the right people. Maybe they're technology minded. Maybe they are from an area that the company is looking to expand in. We're looking to expand in Greenwich, Connecticut, and you live there. So that's why I want to talk to you about it, because you may know the right person. If they have a good business mind, that's a good reason. They're entrepreneurial, or they know everyone and are a connector and social butterfly. They're a relationship builder. They know all the shakers and movers, or they're always looking to make extra money, or they're an internet and online shopper. That's a good reason to take a look at it. Okay. Okay. So if you use these type of reasons and it connects with the person, it makes sense to them. And if you know that about them and it makes sense to them, the probability of them being willing to look goes way, way up. So if they or the person that you have evaluated know and lead to the right person, it could mean some money to you. So just do me a favor, take a look at it and tell me what you think. Maybe I'm crazy. Tell me if I'm crazy or if it makes a lot of sense. And to tell you the truth, I may have ended up doing you a greater favor, because if you led to the right people, you're going to get credit for it. Okay. And that could mean a residual income to you. So do you see how this works? You can't lose if you do this. Yeah. So the valuation approach, do you see why I say it's the opposite of recruiting and trying to get people in? So simply ask them to look at this new technology or new concept using internet marketing to track what people buy and convert spending into earning. It could mean some money to you. There's a real simple line right there. I tell them, always tell a story. Don't try to pitch people or sell people. Tell a story. I ran across this through a friend from work, and it's an internet marketing platform allowing average people to earn significant residual income online. Do you know what residual income is? I mean, this is like unbelievable, but they need somebody to get it off the ground in Greenwich, Connecticut. And it's already doing billions in the US, Canada, and Asia, when thousands have made six figures and hundreds have made millions. And I have the connections and know the people bringing it here. They can explain it, but you may or may not be interested, but you may know the right people, in which case it could mean some income to you for leading to them. And it only takes 30 minutes to an hour to see an overview. Will you come with me? I can only bring 2 people. Does that make sense to you? So, I'm even giving you the lines, right? So make an excuse for them then, because when somebody, I don't know where the delicate balance is of the tug of war, but there's always a tug of war going on, pulling or pushing. So in order to make sure that they're not resisting, okay, I'm going to give them an excuse. Because if they don't, what people generally do when they're being approached about something is they start thinking, how am I going to get out of this? And I don't want them to think that way. So I give them the excuse up front so they don't have to find one and they can focus on what I'm saying. Okay, this works every time. So I realize, look, you're really busy with your new job and probably don't have a time. So you probably wouldn't be interested yourself in this type of thing, but you're well connected and probably would know the right people in the area. See, that's their currency. That's their value proposition. They know the right people and you need the people. So I realize that you're totally dedicated to your church work or your business, your passion, your hobby, your children's sports, whatever it is, and don't have a lot of time. But if you do know someone who might be right, know the right people, me and my partner will show it to them. And if they're right and if they lead to the right people, it can mean some money to you. Do you see how that's an offer too good to refuse? Okay, so I've already given them an out, but they might know the right people. So if that doesn't work or if it's awkward, listen to me now. Do it with a senior partner and build them up and edify them. Make it all about the person that you know and building their credibility, and that you have the connection. See, your friends, just like my friends, they don't believe I know how to do anything, but they do believe that you could have the connections. They don't believe that you're going to show them how to develop a six-figure income and all of a sudden you became a successful entrepreneur and have the deal. But they do believe that you could have the connections. So give the upline partner, get them on the call, give a bio beforehand, something about the person so they know a little bit about them to make it easier for them to connect and massage it. Okay, so the evaluation approach, learn it by doing it with a partner. Learn it by doing it with a senior partner. Rehearse, practice, have fun, do it together, tag team if necessary. And then this you need to print out. If you were doing a commercial, or if you were in a play, or if you were in a movie, you would have a script. This is the script of the evaluation approach and no decision close, and they connect. The no decision close is if they qualify and choose residual income over the 45-year plan, okay? Then we have a method that leads to the volume that gives you a residual income. So now that you chose that and seen the overview, do you want to see the 5 steps? But being that you chose that and you may know the right people, why don't we test it out and see if it works? Because I don't want you to spend a lot of time doing something that wouldn't work out for you. But if you knew you were going to make $2,100 or $3,600 a week, okay, there wouldn't be any question of whether you would do it. So why don't we find out if it'll work for you and if you're the right person for me by test marketing it, testing it out. And folks, this works all the time. And it's the path of least resistance. I'm not giving anybody a hard time. So the evaluation approach and no decision close is the difference between success and failure. Whether I'm prospecting week by week, adding 2 possibilities per week in my daily routine, or whether I'm doing my 100, my list of 100, starting with the 10 to 20, okay? It's the difference between success and failure. It's simple. Those who succeeded simply do what the individuals who failed did not do. So either one of those, if you're doing them and you're using the evaluation approach and no decision close, you're going to get the same result that I got. So we repeat the process with each new person. We make it work under them first. This becomes the ABC pattern. So all the things that we teach, this is what causes them to happen. They become automatic. So then we test market the products, and that leads to retail customers. Everyone wants to register and qualify by the 6th level. When I go from A to B to C and A to B to C, there's people asking for the kit. There's people asking to buy products. There's people that have potential customers. So for everybody to get credit, everybody has to sign up. Presto, you have an instant, executive coordinator. So very important to understand. Is this stop? Okay, 2 minutes to go. When I do the plan, when I show the overview or the 5 steps, all I want them to do is lead me to their people. That's the thing that gets them in, okay? And that's the thing that creates success. So I have to, water seeks its own level. I have to come down to their level of confidence, of readiness, of comfort. Don't try to push a person beyond what they are willing to do, because you may not get them to lead you to the people. Does that make sense to you? Yes. So it might be giving referrals. It might be providing more information. It might be go with them to see somebody, that might be right for it. It might be a meeting around the kitchen table. That starts the ABC pattern. Okay, and it might be a home kickoff if they're really comfortable with it and excited. So I'm going to adjust to their level of confidence in order to get them to lead to the people. So I'm investigating who they know. They'll accidentally get interested when they lead you to someone. It changes everything. When they lead to someone who's interested, who knows the right people and wants to do it, automatically they change their state of mind and want to do it. So I can always ask, Andrew, who's going to sponsor Mario, you or me? It's just that simple. If you don't understand that, I don't know how to help you get it. But The prospect chooses a 2 to 3 year plan or the 45-year plan. Now it's all about adjusting to their level of comfort where they're at in order to get them to lead me to somebody. Because when they lead me to somebody and that person's going to lead to people, they want in. And what I set in motion now carries in motion. And that's how the ABC pattern, the trial run, that turns into a trial run, which turns into the ABC pattern. So just remember, people talk about three things: what's happening, how rotten things are, complaining, and the way they wish things were. So all we do is get in conversations of small talk in our weekly routines. And that's what prospecting is. It's about developing possibilities simply by having conversation, okay? So they're giving you the ammunition you need to give them the reason they should evaluate the business. You just don't cold talk them, okay? In the conversation, they give you the reasons. So when they complain and when they wish, feed it, listen, ask questions. You're discovering who they might know and who they can lead to. So to be a brilliant conversationalist, you might think, oh, I'm not good, I'm shy, I'm not good at talking to people. I'm going to tell you how to do it. This is 40 years of experience, all wrapped up into one little thing, okay? All you need to do is take a keen interest and ask questions. You don't need to be a conversationalist. People are their own favorite topic and they're experts on themselves, and they'll be happy to tell you their life story. It's just absolutely amazing. And then they like you because they found somebody to listen. So see, all I'm doing is I'm collecting information. I got to wrap up now. We're out of time. The bell rang and you got to go to your next class. So take notes and investigate. So weekly, once you're doing the evaluation approach of 2 per week and you're going through the 10 to 20 with your upline, if you believe in the business, you can't help but run into people and it's going to come up. So write their name down. The next time you see them, call them by name. It'll happen naturally. They'll ask you what you do. If they haven't asked you what you do and you want them to, simply ask them what they do. And they'll automatically ask you what you do. Okay, but you got to be ready. Give a short 30-second description. And if they're right for the business, they'll start qualifying themselves by asking questions. They actually start recruiting you. Okay, so this is where the themes come in. This is where the dance starts. This is where you have to practice those things, and it becomes a dance, and you can either lead or you can follow. And that's why I want you to watch that video from last time. That's why I want you to practice those themes. That's why I want you to get together with others. This is what makes you great at the business. Look, in sports, you practice every day before the game that Saturday. Why can't you practice here? You see? So we teach people how to make money doing this. Would you like, see, that's a great line. When you do the themes, you can always say, we teach people how to make money doing this. Is this something that you'd like to learn more about? Is this something that captures your imagination? And maybe you could evaluate it as you may know the right people, in which case it could mean some money to you. I know that you're busy, but you might know the right people. I have the connections to make it happen. So that's my big tip for prospecting and developing possibilities. Next week, we'll drive it home. How do you control it? How do you steer it? How do you get the result that you want? So that's it for today. I hope it stimulated your thinking, and I hope that it stimulates you to the point where you'll experience it by doing it with somebody. I believe in you.